It all started with the children, all across the world, without any connection to one another. Thousands of them began drawing the exact same picture: a dark, black sky, a broken moon, and something enormous, a shape so vast it defied logic, standing behind the earth. When psychologists, teachers, and parents asked the children why they were all drawing this terrifying image, they all gave the same bone-chilling answer: because that's how the world ends. The first recorded case was a 10-year-old girl in Tokyo named Ari Nakamura. She woke up one night, her screams tearing through the quiet apartment. Her mother rushed into the room to find her daughter shaking violently, her face streaked with tears. "Ari, what happened? What's wrong?" Through shuddering breaths, the little girl whispered something strange, something that made no sense. "It found us again." Her mother frowned, confused and worried. "What found us, sweetie?" Ari didn't answer right away. She just slowly, trembling, pointed a single finger toward the window, at the night sky. Within weeks, what seemed like an isolated nightmare became a global phenomenon. Reports flooded in from every corner of the planet. Children in different countries, speaking different languages, raised in entirely different cultures, were all describing the exact same dream. A massive, indistinct shape hiding behind the moon, watching the Earth with an unseen gaze. Waiting. At first, scientists and experts dismissed it as a strange coincidence, perhaps a new form of mass hysteria fueled by the internet. That was until they saw the drawings. Every child, from the plains of Africa to the cities of Europe, drew the same creature, a silhouette too large to truly comprehend, a being of impossible scale. The phenomenon took an even more disturbing turn when the children began to speak. Their words were not those of imaginative kids. They were filled with a strange, unnerving knowledge. One child in a research facility whispered to a doctor, "You shouldn't look for it." Another boy calmly told his horrified parents over breakfast, "It wakes up when you notice it." But the most terrifying statement of all came from the first child, Ari Nakamura. During a televised interview, she looked past the reporter, past the cameras, and said with a chilling finality, "We've already lived this world before." This one statement changed everything. Scientists began running advanced brain scans on the children, searching for any neurological anomaly that could explain this shared delusion. What they found was impossible. The children's brains showed distinct memory activity, well-formed neural pathways, for events that had never happened in recorded history, wars that were never fought, cities that never existed, and one final, catastrophic event, seared into the memory of every single child: the complete and total end of the Earth. Under intense but gentle questioning, Ari eventually explained everything. That the voice that came from the 10-year-old was not her own. It was older, ancient, and unnervingly calm. "Cold. Humanity keeps restarting," she stated, not as a theory, but as a fact. The room full of world-renowned scientists stared in stunned silence. Ari continued, her eyes vacant. "When the world ends, we are reborn." A researcher, his voice trembling slightly, asked the obvious question. "Then why? Why do only the children remember?" Ari's answer was quiet, but it landed with the force of a physical blow. "Because adults forget." According to the collective memory of the children, humanity had already lived through thousands of cycles, thousands of different versions of Earth. Every single time, civilization would advance, reaching new heights of technology and understanding. But every time we reached a certain point, a threshold of discovery, something would wake up, that same something that was hiding just beyond the moon, and it would erase humanity completely. Time would then reset, and the human race would begin all over again, with no memory of what had come before. The scientists, desperate for an answer, asked the children one final, critical question. If this has happened so many times before, why are you remembering now? Why is this time different? Ari Nakamura stared directly into the lens of the camera recording the interview. Her eyes were completely calm, devoid of any childish fear. Because this time, she said, we made a mistake. A heavy silence filled the room, thick with dread. The lead researcher leaned in, his voice barely a whisper. What mistake? Ari's answer was just 2 words, spoken with chilling clarity. You found it. A shockwave of realization and terror rippled through the global scientific community. Months earlier, an international deep space telescope array had captured something anomalous. A massive, unidentifiable object moving in a strange orbit behind the moon. The footage was so bizarre, so paradigm-shattering that it was immediately classified at the highest levels. The data was scrubbed, the files hidden, the project officially deleted. The scientists had thought they were burying a secret, but they suddenly understood the horrifying truth. The creature didn't wake up on a random cycle. It woke up when humanity discovered it. Our greatest moment of discovery was also our trigger for extinction. Almost overnight, children around the world began counting. They drew makeshift calendars on their bedroom walls. They wrote numbers in chalk on the sidewalks. In Tokyo, Ari Nakamura wrote one number over and over again on a sheet of paper. 13. When asked what it meant, she answered without hesitation. 13 days until it wakes up. Panic began to ripple across the globe. Governments issued strenuous denials, calling it a hoax, but it was too late. Amateur and professional astronomers alike began pointing their telescopes toward the moon. And soon, they all saw it. Movement in the deep black behind the lunar surface. Something enormous. Something impossible. On the 13th night, the sky began to change. Around the world, people looked up to see the moon itself appear to crack. Spiderwebbing with fissures of dark energy. From the darkness behind it, something began to emerge. A shadow larger than continents. A form that bent the light around it. Humanity, united for the first and last time, watched in absolute horror. In the research facility, as alarms blared and scientists wept, Ari Nakamura said something that defied the terror of the moment. Don't worry. The lead scientist turned to look at her, his face a mask of confusion and despair. She offered him a soft, gentle smile. You won't remember this. Then, the sky went completely black. The creature from behind the moon opened something that might have been an eye. A void of anti-light swallowed all of existence, and the world ended. Instantly. Then, a cry. The sound of new life in a sterile hospital room. A newborn girl opened her eyes for the very first time. A smiling nurse swaddled her and cooed, "Welcome to the world, little one." On the baby's wrist was a small plastic band. It read, Ari Nakamura. The baby stared silently at the ceiling tiles, her eyes holding a depth that no infant should possess. And then, in a voice no louder than a breath, she whispered an impossible sentence into the silence of the room. We started again. Thank you for watching. If this story stuck with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more content that explores the chilling corners of the imagination. Stay curious and stay safe.